And that, well, manga, I would say, now. But when I first was really into it, I was got into it through the anime. So I would say that anime slash manga was called Claymore. And Claymore, it grabbed me in a particular way that very few anime and manga had grabbed me up to that point. It almost makes it sound like it's kind of like some weird kind of sexual assault situation, but no, it kind of did. It was crazy. And I remember the opening sequence and just the mastery of this opening sequence. And I remember thinking how disappointed I was when I saw Catwoman with the Halle Berry Catwoman, and just kind of juxtaposed it in my mind to the opening to Claymore. And the opening to Claymore, it's extremely straightforward, and I think a show should really try to communicate like what it's going for in its first couple pages, and I think Claymore does that perfectly. Like the first thing you see is this set of inhuman jaws, and there's drool and saliva dripping off of it, and it looks absolutely like this vicious kind of monstrous thing. And then you see our protagonist's eyes, and they're open and they're calm, and the calmness is actually so extraordinarily important. I can't tell you just how disappointed I was with, this will be a bit of a tangent, but with the Ghost in the Shell movie with Scarlett Johansson, because I remember there was an action sequence. She was playing the Major, where she was killing these. Well, she was engaged in combat, and she looked scared. Like she looked like she was, in a fight, and like her adrenaline was going, but she was like unsteady, unsure, like that kind of look that of a novice would make. And I remember seeing that on what Scarlett Johansson's character should have been seasoned, should have been a veteran, and here she was looking all kind of wild-eyed and like, oh no, it's too much for me. And I thought, this is fucking, like, this is terrible. If you can't inspire confidence in your action heroes, it's just like, it's so terrible. It's one of those intangible things. I think when people hate the movie but they can't really explain why, I think that's one of the things. It's like if you got an action hero and your action hero just kind of looks like they fumbled their way through the whole thing. It's just like, I mean, it may work in a Tarantino kind of deconstructive, kind of like humorous way, but if you're going for like a full blown like Predator, like a full blown action thing. In Predator, you didn't have like a bunch of dudes being like, yeah, we don't really know. You just shoot at the enemy, and sometimes you got lucky. No, you had these hardened warriors, and it really got set up, and like these were your protagonists, and they were good at fighting and good at killing, and it's going to be fun to watch this proceed. One second. So yeah, look at just this collected, aware kind of face. That's wonderful. And you have, of course, the next panel, because in with Japanese manga it reads from right to left. So on the next panel you see the foot, and so you see he's running at her. And I almost never say this, but I honestly like what the anime did better here, where he's running at her and you see him kind of hunched down running. I thought that was wonderful. But this gets communicates the same thing. He's moving, right? He's attacking, so he's confident. He thinks he's going to get a kill here, and then of course her hand, and then you see she's actually past him and off to the side, and has perfectly cut his head and part of his face too. And that just and her graceful pose there is so loose. It's like, I don't know if any of you have ever like worked with your hands or done like worked like physically with your body, but when you've done a thing 1,000 times, there's a certain looseness where you can just kind of whip it out. That's an unfortunate metaphor, but you can whip it out really quick and gracefully because you've done it so many times that there's actually a range, right? It isn't like you're kind of bumbling through the motion. You've done the motion so many times that you can do the motion a bit like this. You can do the motion a bit like that. You can do the motion a little faster than normal. You can do the motion a little slower than normal. You can do the motion a bit up, a bit down. You can do it while you're doing something else with your other hand. And so that's what this looseness is. And this panel, it's literally just her being like, I've done this thousands of times, and this stroke will suffice. Like, I could be tensed further forward, I could be tensed further backward, but this is the right angle, and this is the right cut, and you know, just professional. Cuts his head off. And when I saw that, I thought, whoever drew this understands things. They've thought about it. They understand what it is to be an expert with the motions of their body. They understand what it is to be cool and collected, to communicate that a person has seen a scenario before, that this is not our protagonist's first kill. And they are showing us that our protagonist is an expert. Our protagonist is a killer. They're an apex predator. And I just thought that was just such a wonderful opening sequence to this manga. And it goes a bit, it also, the opening sequence isn't just that. Then it shows, there's of course the whole sequence with the town, but when they show her again, and she has this kind of like, look on her face, and she's heading in, and it's just like another day at work, and you can tell she doesn't really want to be at work. And then something about like, have you ever been to a job where you got called in and you just worked a double or something, and then you got called in for the next day and someone quit or something, so now you're working this second double, and you have this feeling where you're just like, don't fuck with me. I've had enough. I don't give a shit anymore. Like I'll do the job. I'm very good at the job. I just am not feeling very patient today. Just stay out of my way, please. This is the feeling I get from our character here. Like somebody who's working too many doubles and is just a little fed up. And I thought there's like these little subtle communications in this entire manga, and I thought that this was just an absolutely wonderful way to set up a veteran, a veteran blade for this kind of, for the arc that we were about to see. And if you stumble on this video and you have not seen Claymore, I could not recommend Claymore enough. It's wonderful. It deals with a lot of very interesting things. There are philosophical underpinnings that are very interesting. And of course, you have to read the manga. You can watch the anime up till 21. You have like episode 21 or 22. But from there on, the manga is actually, it's not optional at that point. The manga becomes, you must read the manga. If you continue to watch after 22, you're a heretic. And to be honest with me, if I ran an authoritarian state and you watched episode 23, 24, 25, 26, that would be punishable by death. You would be strung up and you would be killed, because those episodes should never exist. And I mean, I can talk about, I'll make another video about why the final episodes of Claymore should not exist, but it just seems like, it just pisses me off so much that I just feel like it should be evident to everyone that has ever seen it. And it is. It just kind of annoys me, because people sometimes, they don't, I've warned them not to watch these, and they do it anyway, and then they're like, that was terrible, why'd you recommend this show to me? And I'm like, you fuckwit, I told you about this, like, don't watch those.